Here's 7 mistakes that you're probably making in your goth makeup journey as a person of color. Hi, my name is Ellen. I'm an artist. This is my YouTube channel. I am goth. I am black. I see you guys make videos online like, oh my gosh, I wish there was more goth makeup tutorials for people of color. I don't want to paint my face white. What am I supposed to do? How does this supposed to apply to me? This is for you, okay? Specifically for you. I did do my makeup a little bit in this video to kind of walk you guys through the process, but I did not do a tutorial. I mainly just wanted to focus helping you guys correct some of the mistakes that you're making in your goth makeup journey if you are a person of color. Now to be clear, this is not something that is so exclusive that I feel like nobody else can relate to or nobody else could benefit from. So if you are not a person of color and you identify as goth, I feel like some of these tips and tricks can also work for you too. But I am specifically making this for melanated people who are interested in the subculture and who like makeup. If you have any other questions or anything that you guys want to suggest in terms of content goals, then please place them down in the comments. And yeah, stay tuned for the rest of the video. All right, bye. Okay, so before we get into the rest of this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video. Here's 7 mistakes you're probably making with your goth makeup if you have darker skin, specifically. Now, these tips and tricks can work for you if you have lighter skin, but I'm specifically talking to my melanated people who are interested in goth makeup. So today I will be giving you guys some tips and tricks on that. I am using my new mic because I've heard you guys complain about my audio, and I got a new mic. I hope you guys like it. I hope that I'm coming across as clear and concise as possible. Let me know if you like this mic, like the audio in this video compared to my other videos, if you have been watching for a while. If you are new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Ellen. I'm goth, I'm black. I'm here to give you guys all the tips and tricks and share my wisdom on to you, because I realize that I am the new generation of adults. You see this right here, this right here is fucking you guys up, because this right here, you do not need white makeup specifically to do goth makeup. If you're interested in goth makeup, especially if you're interested in incorporating it into your everyday makeup, and depending on what job you work or what school you go to, this is not always the most appropriate option. And depending on what your skin type is and everything, this isn't going to be suitable for everyday wear, okay? However, if you like it, I love it. And if you are gonna go with this route of using a white makeup base for your trad goth makeup look specifically, you need to be cleaning and prepping your skin properly first. I know that a lot of us are on a budget, but you see this right here, this e.l.f. primer, this is only $10. Now, if you get the smaller size, that's the travel size, you can get it for $5. And sometimes it's on sale. I know we boycott Target and all, but that's the main pot where I see it. And you can also find them in beauty supply stores too, and it's pretty good. So always prep your skin before doing your makeup, especially if you're going to be doing something heavy like clown white makeup. That's literally what this is called by Melanin. Not Melanin. This is Ben Nye. So Ben Nye Clown 9. Ben Nye Clown White. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. So if you're going to be using a white paint like this, especially, you want to prep your skin. And when you put your primer on, okay, you want to do your skincare, then your primer. So if you're wearing makeup, you don't want to do too many layers of skincare, especially if you're going to be using a primer, because you want your makeup to be able to stick to your skin, especially if you're going to be dancing, you're going to be out all night, you're going to be sweating, especially you're going to be outdoors and such. And when you apply your primer, you want to make sure that you rub it in all the way into your skin. Like, we're gonna do it together, okay? And if you have like a little electrical fan or a little paper fan, a lot of times I'll just grab a random makeup palette and I will just like go around my face and fan it for at least 30 seconds or so. You want to let your primer dry before applying anything. And then once you apply this is very important, okay? So you want to add setting powder to your paint. I would not recommend a colored setting powder for your clown white paint, but a little birdie told me, got this Jasmine. I'm gonna put a picture of them here. They use they them pronouns. They are non-binary. Their name on all their social media is Got This Jasmine. So Got This Jasmine is a professional makeup artist, and they are a drag performer, and they wear a lot of body paint. They do different colors and such. And I hopped in their live one day and I asked them, you know, what do you do to prime your face to like add different layers and stuff to make sure that it lasts long throughout your performances? And they said that they use cornstarch. Now I'm currently out of cornstarch, or I just can't find mine. I'm gonna put a picture of it here, like just cornstarch. Apply that stuff the same way that you would regular, actually like a thicker layer. Do like a base like this, or a dry beauty blender for that. You really want to pack it, you really want to bake it, and you want to let it sit on your face for a couple of minutes. And you want to use like a really nice fluffy brush like this, and you want to brush that off. And then you can add your blacks and your grays and such. Now if you're adding different layers of body paint, then you want to set in between those layers, and you want to spray your face with a setting spray. So you really want to pack that in there. You really want to set it. Now sometimes when you use a clown white makeup or any other type of body paint that is white, and you don't, like, depending on how you apply it, what layers you use or whatever, do not use those annoying ass little sponges that comes in like the cheap Halloween makeup kits. Get you a beauty blender. They're around the same price, and they're gonna give you much better coverage for something thick like this. Do not use a brush with your body paint, because the brush is going to like stick to it, and you're gonna have those brush strokes, and sometimes like the brush can shed a little bit and you'll have like little hairs from the brush in your makeup. So you do not want to do that if you're using something like this for your white makeup. Also, do like make sure you're applying different layers, and also add like a white eyeshadow, a white powder on top of it, because one of the things that I see a lot of people do when they have darker skin and they apply a white makeup look is it's either too light and it's sheer and it kind of looks ashy, or it's too light and it's oily, because this stuff doesn't really dry unless you set it. So if you're not using setting powder and setting spray in between all your layers, this is gonna melt off your face. It's gonna rub against all of your clothes, and anything that touches your face, like, it's always gonna be wet to touch. So you definitely want to set this if you are going to be incorporating this into your drag goth makeup looks. This is my concealer that I use for my bright under eyes. Another common mistake that I see a lot of young goth girls, goth guys, they-thems making is they will cover their entire face with a shade that is 3 to 5 shades lighter than their actual skin tone, in an attempt to make their eye makeup stand out more, because that's what they think that they have to do. And I'm just gonna apply this concealer to my face that I know is way too light for me, just to kind of give you guys an example of what that can look like. Okay, I'm not gonna do my whole face in concealer, but you can see an example of a mistake, a common mistake that you guys make. So you see how this foundation, well, it's not foundation, it's concealer. Concealer is just a thicker version of foundation. But you see how this concealer on my skin is like 5 shades lighter than my actual skin, and how my actual skin tone is peeking through the layers of this, and it's kind of making me look a little bit ashy. And if I were to mattify it, then it would make me look a little dusty. You don't need to do this if you want to have goth alternative makeup looks in order to make it stand out more, in order to make a contrast. You just need to learn how to properly contour your face, and you can contour with a concealer that is closer to your skin tone. I like a bright under eye, so that's why I have bright concealer like this. This is my darkest concealer that I use to like put in my highlight full tone. This is what I use as a color corrector for some of my dark spots before I put on my foundation. Even though I have full coverage foundation, I don't need to do this, but it's just an extra step that I like to do. And then this is my darkest concealer that I use to contour my face, and I add to my cheeks and my nose and like my forehead and under here. I tend to apply a little bit more contour around my nose, not in an attempt to like make my nose look smaller, but when I want to do like freckles and such, and I want to like carve this little area into like a perfect little ball, and I know I'm going to be layering on some blush to my nose, and I like to add a lot of blush. I want like the structure that I built with this concealer to be at the base. Okay, so I just thought about this. This isn't on my list. We're just gonna call this number 4. Is when you are doing your concealer and you want to have a nice bright under eye concealer. So first of all, you do concealer in your under eyes. You may notice that when I put my foundation, I kind of went around my eye. You don't want to put foundation on your eyes if you want to apply a concealer, especially if you want to layer it, especially if you have like bags or lines around here, because it's just gonna crease more. The more product you put in the area that creases, the more it's going to crease. So first of all, when you put your concealer on, you want to apply your foundation around your eyes. You don't want to put foundation in this area if you plan on putting on concealer, because it's just going to cause it to crease more. This area is very thin and it can't handle a lot of product, so you got to be careful with that. Another thing that I see is a mistake that you guys make, so I guess it'll be mistake number 5, and then we're gonna have some bonus ones at the end, so stay tuned for the rest of the video to see what those bonus tips are. So this is mistake number 5. When you guys put on concealer and you want to have a really bright under eye concealer, you tend to go for the brightest, lightest, beigest concealer that you could possibly find as like your first layer. But what's gonna happen is, as I showed you guys earlier, is that you're gonna see your original skin tone peek through this layer. So if you want to have a really nice bright layer of concealer, what you really need to do is find a concealer that is lighter than your skin tone but not too light, kind of like a mid-tone. So something like this, and then this is my concealer. So it is significantly lighter but not to a crazy extent. So if I apply this to my under eyes, you're not going to see so much of my regular skin tone peek out under it. And instead of applying it directly here, I'm going to just kind of like do some little dabs at the back of my hand, always like this, and I'm gonna kind of do some little dabs like this, and I'm starting from the outside in. So you want to start on this outer bone, and then you kind of want to do little dabs closer to the eye. So you want to start on the outside and work your way in. Like, you don't want to start here and work your way down. You want to start out and work up. You can see, yeah, it's lighter, but it's not super duper significantly lighter than my actual skin tone. And it actually conceals some of the dark circles that I have. Like, it's actually concealing. And I'm just like making sure that the product is in there with these nice little taps that I'm doing. So I'm starting from here, kind of working my way up, and I'm doing like really soft little taps. And I have the most discoloration around this area, so that is what I'm doing. There you go. My dark circles are concealed. And then I'm just kind of like make sure that it's actually dry first. And then I'm gonna go in with a really nice bright concealer. So concealer that I just applied. And then this is the one I'm gonna apply on top. And then I'm gonna do the same thing as before. I'm gonna apply it to the back of my hand. Do some little taps. Little taps. We're gonna start from the outside. Out. And work our way in. I'm gonna let it sit here for a few seconds and let it dry because it's easier to blend once it's dry. It gets a little thicker, but you don't want it to dry too much because it'll be harder to blend. So once we let this sit for a few seconds, and then I'm just gonna like do some soft little tappings. Soft little tappings, okay, soft. And as I'm doing these little taps, I'm working the product closer and closer to the eye. And I know it looks crazy right now, but like trust the process, okay? Like trust the process. So I'm just doing these nice little taps, and I'm really trying to make sure that I blend on my waterline. Once again, we're gonna give this a few seconds to dry. Maybe let it sit here for about 30 seconds. And you could take a really giant, you could take like a medium-sized fluffy brush like this. This is what I would typically use for my foundation. Or you could take a beauty blender. Now your beauty blenders are gonna absorb a lot more product than your brushes. So if you are going to be using a beauty blender, then just give yourself a few extra seconds to let this dry. And then same process. We're going to start from the outside. Small little taps. Small little taps. And we're just going to like work our way closer and closer to the eye. Blend along the nose bridge. And I'm just gonna like add a little bit more product here. Okay, so I have slightly bright under eyes, and I'm gonna do my blush and come back. Okay, so I contoured my face and everything, and I'm about to apply my blush. Another common thing that I see is 1, goths don't wear blush, and 2, dark skinned people don't wear blush. Not true. I wear all kinds of blush. I have a liquid blush. I have multiple powder brushes, but this is a recent one that I got from Sushi Glow. It's called Love Note Blush. I'm gonna open it. So, this is like a powder blush. It's a very nice red. It's not the same as eyeshadow. You can definitely tell that it's formulated differently. And then I have this one size palette. It's like, it's a cream at the top. So it's like a cream at the top. I use this all the time. So it's cream, and then this powder, and then this is a highlight. And I like to layer them. So I'm going to start off with Camo Liquid Blush. And I'm not going to set my face until after I do my blush, just because it's just, it looks better. So we're starting off with this, and I'm just doing a nice little pet, nice little pets. And you can put on as much or as little of blush as you would like. So don't be afraid to wear blush if you're goth, and don't be afraid to wear blush if you're black. I will say that if you are a darker skinned person, not all blushes are made for us. I didn't start wearing blush until maybe like 1 or 2 years ago, because at first, all the blushes I tried just would not show up on me. And then when I started wanting to wear blush, I would just have to mix up. Okay, so I would just have to mix up these two palettes from ColourPop. This one is Flirty Talk, and this one is Lost in Love. They both have various shades of pinks and reds. And sometimes I would use like a purple eyeshadow from a different palette, or an orange eyeshadow if I want that type of look. I would just mix together different type of eyeshadows. But now I have actual blushes, it's just such a game changer. So goths do wear blush, dark skinned people can wear blush. You can wear all kinds of pinks and purples and oranges, reds, whatever it is that you like. There's liquids, there's creams, there's powders. Like, you don't have to be limited to it, and you can put as little or as much as you want to when it comes to blush. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that there is a such thing as a blush blindness. I'm going to put on my blush, and I've really been loving this pink and red combo. Like, I put the red on the outer skirts, and then I put the pink towards the inside, and then I kind of blend it with my eyes, because I want, my eyes to look like, when I do my eye makeup, I want the blush to kind of blend into the eye makeup, especially since today I'm going to be doing like a red makeup look. So in with this shade here, it's called Pick Me from the Girly Pop Cheek Clapper, and I'm just adding in like the pink. It's kind of a mauve kind of look, and I'm blending my blush into my concealer so that it just blends more. That I have all my blush on, I'm going to set my face. You need setting powder, especially in this heat, especially when it's hot outside. Now if I were going somewhere, I would layer in my finishing spray into each layer. Foundation spray, concealer spray, contour spray, blush spray, highlighter spray, eyeshadow spray. Like, you gotta spray in between the layers. If you are outside in the heat, if you're an oily person, you're going out dancing, you really want to, like, these two are going to be your best friends: setting powder, setting spray. Colorful makeup isn't goth. Whoever said this is a damn lie, and the truth is not in them. In fact, there's various photos of original goth people from the 80s with all types of beautiful colorful makeup, and I will insert some pics here. And also, this is also used to kind of gatekeep a lot of people from the subculture, especially when it comes to people of color. Like, people are always looking for a reason to try and invalidate people, and like try to like gatekeep goth culture, and that's not true. So I'm gonna do a goth colorful makeup look for you guys today. And if you guys have been following my channel for a while, you see that I post lots of colorful makeup looks, and they're really nice and fun and artsy. And makeup is a form of art, and you can play around with it. You don't have to limit yourself to doing the goth makeup looks that you see online. You can play around with it and discover all types of looks by yourself. So I'm just going to do like a really simple colorful makeup look, just to kind of show you guys that colorful makeup is goth. Like, you don't have to just wear black or just black and gray. Like, you can expand your world to lots of different things. I do have a few extra tips for you guys. That is my 7 tips of, like 7 mistakes you're probably making in your goth makeup journey and like how to correct it. I do have some extra tips, so if you guys want to stay tuned for the rest of this video where you can see how my look comes together and I will share with you. Those are my 7 mistakes that you guys are typically making in your goth makeup journey if you have darker skin. And then these are my extra tips. A lot of people say things like highlighter isn't goth, glitter isn't goth. Wrong. Like, makeup is all about creative self-expression, and it's whatever you make it. And if you are goth and you want to wear highlighter, then put your highlighter on. Like, don't worry about people trying to like take your goth card away for something ridiculous and whatever. Like, have your fun. So I'm using Sushi Glow Cosmetics Rainbow Highlighter, and it looks like this. And I'm just like applying some to my cheeks. Like, the highlight is highlighting and it complements the rest of my makeup. So don't let people tell you what is and what isn't goth. Like, the only people we get keep goth from are conservatives. Like, there's a very popular song by Dead Kennedys. It is called Nazi Punks Fuck Off. Like, that is who we gatekeep goth from, not highlighter and glitter and colorful makeup and all this other stuff. Like, and I like to layer my highlighters, but I feel like I don't really need to with this one, and it's fine. Oh my gosh, guys, freckles are not goth. You see these on my face? My hand looks like this so that my face can look like this. But freckles aren't goth, so you can't wear freckles if you want to be goth. Wrong, you totally can. And you can experiment with multiple colors if you want to, depending on your eyeshadow and what you're going for. If you want to learn how to do fake freckles, I have not 1 but 2 different tutorials on fake freckles. Today, I mixed black and purple, and I feel like it was a nice contrast to the red, and it looks really nice. So that's how it looks. I'm gonna take down my hair so you guys can see the full vision. So this is the final look and how everything turned out.